When you look at conservatism today, which is the movement is being led today by Donald Trump, you have his son-in-law, Jared Kushner. Where do you think it's headed in terms of relations with Israel? You think Trump will continue to pursue the path that he has, a very pro-Israel course?
Well, I'm terrible at predictions. I'm not even a very good backward-looking prophet in explaining what went on in the old days. Terrible at predictions, but you can tell, you can feel how comfortable Trump is with we'll call it the Jewish constituency, whether it's in New York, in Florida. The two states are the same in a lot of ways. It makes perfect sense for Trump, to leave or retire, leave New York and go down to Florida like all those other New Yorkers. And I think the connection for him feels very natural. If you go back and look at his early political career, which I've been doing now, which will sound like a paradox to some people. What do you mean by Donald Trump's early political career? Well, he was involved in New York politics when he was in his early 30s. And people like Stanley Friedman, who was a big shot in the Democratic Party in New York, good friend of Trump's. Trump worked with him, Roy Cohn, all these people. There's a very strong connection to Jews and Israel. And Buckley had that too. Buckley was an early supporter of a group called Jewish Anti-Communists. That goes all the way back to Roy Cohn in the 50s. And Bill Buckley was a big supporter of it. And Trump, to me, fits into all of that. So I would not be surprised one bit.
That's really fascinating. It almost sounds like there's a longer essay to be written about Trump's relations with American Jews and Israel.
Well, I couldn't do it. You could do it a lot better than I could because you know foreign policy far better than I do. The clubhouse politics side of it is one that I'm looking at now. I actually think that one reason people have gotten Trump wrong after all the stumbles in the first term is they think he's new to politics. He's not. If you read the really informed writing on him by Wayne Barrett, the investigative reporter for the Village Voice, it's almost all about politics. He needed political support to get his first buildings done. He had to get these tax abatements, which he did through the mayoral administration of Abraham Beam. I mean, we're going back a long ways. His father was connected to that world. He knows everything about clubhouse politics. So I will suggest this to you because it's an idea I'm working through. What if Donald Trump is not the insurrectionist who blew up the Republican Party and much of the political establishment? What if he is the first modern, true clubhouse politician in the old style? He's the first one we've seen since the days of the Gilded Age, or maybe the 1930s. Al Smith and people like that, who were very close to the mob, for one thing, and also knew how to pull the levers. What if that's really what Trump is? What if he actually knows more about politics than the rest of us do on that interpersonal, transactional level?
So you think that's a big reason that people have underestimated Donald Trump?
I do. When we hear all the outrage about transactional politics and charismatic politics, I would suggest that people go back, read a famous essay you will know very well. Max Weber's essay from more than 100 years ago was a lecture he gave in Germany on politics as a vocation. And he says, in the modern political era, we have charismatic leaders who come out of clubhouse politics and make sure everybody else falls in line. And he was not referring to demagogues. His references were to Gladstone in England and to clubhouse politics in the United States in the 19th century. So that's the beginnings. You're a big reader of Anthony Trollope, and he writes about that too. That when your guy wins, everybody else falls in line. That's your job, is to fall in line in Parliament. The guy who wins, who leads the party and has won the big election, and Trollope came out of that Gladstone politics, calls the shots. So there are these exchanges, them in those Palliser novels where the new MP says, well, I don't think I should vote for that bill because it goes against my conscience. And then the others laugh at him and say, conscience, you're in the wrong business here. That's not what we do. We actually kind of do what we're told to do. We march in lockstep. That's American politics for a really long time. Tammany Hall was founded by Aaron Burr. There's a long tradition of that kind of politics. And I think people make a mistake when they invent the idea of a kind of think tank-driven politics of ideas and ideology. As you know, I have a lot of that in the Buckley book. There was always this tension between the abstract idea people on the one hand and the others who actually know how you get people elected and win votes, because the ambitions are so different, and you have to find the figure around whom they can all coalesce. Yeah.
So you're saying that Trump in some ways is a bigger success story than we've thought.
Oh, far bigger, far bigger. Yeah, this is just the beginning of it. He's figured out how it works now, and the others are figuring out how it works. I guess it's probably all heresy, but that's how it looks to me. Listen, I'm out there in rural Connecticut, so I don't feel the pinch the way some other people do, and I understand that. I'm not saying these are good things that are happening. I'm just saying it's a mistake to do the kind of article the New York Times does, where they call up 3 presidential historians to tell them, no, the way Trump is doing it is not the way Eisenhower and the first Bush did it. So this is not really conservative politics. If anybody can tell me what conservative politics really is, I will be happy to learn from them. My guy, Bill Buckley, could never do it. He wanted to write one book that was going to explain what it meant to be a conservative, and he gave up on it. He kept trying, and he finally gave up on it. He got stomped into the ground by James Baldwin in a debate, and he never went back to it again, and he found other things to do. Right? You just can't do it. The best minds out there can't do it. They can give you some slice of it. George Will can give you one piece of it, and a Ross Douthat can give you another piece of it, or these other various columnists. But nobody can tell you how it coheres, because it doesn't. And that's how our pluralistic politics has never worked. So a lot of this stuff, to me, feels a little nutty. That people are looking for ideologies and coherent systems of thought when that is not how this country's ever worked. Like Lincoln said, I did not shape events, right? Events shape me. So that's what the better politicians do, is they react to things as they happen. It would be nice if there was not as much mendacity as there is now, but we're stuck with it. That's what's developed over quite a number of years now.